Have you heard of permitted development rights? Well, they're not all equal. My name is Ritchie Clapson, I'm a chartered structural engineer, and I've now been in the property industry over 40 years. And on today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly why not all permitted development rights are equal. I suppose I should start telling you what permitted development rights are, because some of you might not know. Well, it's the right to convert an existing building, an existing commercial building, primarily into something else, and primarily residential. By doing that, we get this massive uplift in value, taking an old commercial building, which are generally a lot cheaper per square foot, per square meter than residential, and turning it into residential gives us big profits, gives us big uplift. The important thing about permitted development rights is that they are a right to do certain developments that are permitted. You see, it says it on the tin, and it's a short circuit through the planning system. The planning system in this country is broken. It's a bit of a mess. Going in the planning system, you've no idea when you're going to come out the other end. Permitted development rights has got a strict 56-day rule. You put your application in. If you don't get an answer in 56 days, you can carry on. It's also only got a handful of things that you have to comply with. Adequate natural light, no contamination, noise interference from somewhere else, flooding. There's just a small selection of things. And it doesn't actually get influenced by local or national policy. So you don't have to provide car parking. You don't have to provide amenity. You can't get clobbered with loss of employment. So it's really powerful. But why aren't they all equal? Well, there are lots of permitted development rights out there. And let me just give you a couple of examples. Have you heard of airspace rights? Yeah, perhaps you have. This is the ability to build up on an existing building. So provided we've got a commercial building, minimum 3 stories, and there's a few other bits of criteria, we could put additional floors on top of that building. We also have the ability to demolish buildings in certain circumstances and rebuild residential blocks, providing, again, we conform with the rules. But they're subjective. They have clauses in them, clauses within those rights, which talk about the impact and the character of those buildings on the community and local businesses. What impact? Positive? Negative? It doesn't define it. An impact is it's not defined, is it? It's a very personal thing. So now we're in the position, whereas generally permitted development rights is fact. It's a yes or it's a no. Is it in a flood zone? Yes or no. Have you got adequate natural light? Yes or no. Have you got contamination? Yes or no, and so on. Whereas impact, the impact is it could actually bring this conversion of this office block into residential could bring employment to the area. That's a great thing, isn't it? Well, no, it's an impact. And just because the planning officer doesn't want it, they could refuse it. No, it's going to bring too much employment to the area. It's going to bring too many people to the area. People are going to overwhelm. The coffee shops won't cope. The bakeries won't cope. Ludicrous as it sounds, that's what they could do. They don't need to justify. They can just say, no, we don't think the impact is too great. So where we have permitted development rights, where we have these shades of grey, shall I call them, we don't want to go down those roads. You as a first-time developer, maybe as a second or maybe as a third-time developer, do you not want to minimize risk? You don't want someone else having the opportunity to control your business. So there are 2 permitted development rights that you want to focus on. One of them is called Class G, the other is called Class MA. In fact, G, although it has some restrictions, is the easiest and the most non-contentious permitted development right that there is, and Class MA is just one step up. Slightly more complex, sometimes to do with traffic and highways. But fundamentally, those 2 PD rights, those 2 permitted development rights, are generally going to be easy to interpret. They have relatively easy compliances, boxes that you have to tick, and if you tick those boxes, almost without doubt, you know you're going to get your permitted development right through. And of course, all of this reflects back into your borrowing, your commercial borrowing that you want to bring to the table. It's going to be far more difficult to get borrowing on a permitted development right that is subjective. Permitted development rights Class G and MA are fundamentally the conversion of what you've got. It doesn't allow demolition. It doesn't allow extra floors in airspace rights. It just allows the conversion. But it's a whole lot simpler. It's a lot easier to define and it minimizes your risk. So if you like permitted development rights, they're not all equal. Focus on G and MA. Have you got that? Written it down? Makes sense? Hopefully it does. Please like and subscribe as always, and let us know if there's anything else you want me to comment on. See you in the next video.